Hi guys, That's Song Review Guy here, and on today's episode of Charts in the Past, we look back at the 10 biggest selling singles of the 15th of October 1967. At number 10 is Ichiku Park by the Small Faces. From English rock quartet The Small Faces, active from 65 to 69 before reforming in 75 until 78, when the rock scene shifted so much into punk that their reunion sunk and ultimately the group came to a succinct demise. This group dropped 6 studio albums, charted 14 top 40 singles, 2 of which were re-releases, are recognised as one of the most influential mod groups of the 60s, received the Ivor Novello for Outstanding Contribution to British Music Lifetime Achievement Award in 1996, and were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2012. Harkening back to the days where lead singer would often skip school and hang out in Ichiku Park, a true place situated in London where it's actually called Little Ilford Park, the song is about the protagonist getting stoned off his tits and experiences the weird and wonderfulness of what it's like getting high. For me, it was eating loads of food and finding everything hilarious before becoming tired and wanting to sleep. But I've gone too far, so back to the song. Much like many songs on this list, it's got an undeniably fun nature to it that gives the song such appeal, along with the atypical instruments of rock/psychedelia, bass guitar, drums, piano and keyboards. There's not much fault to find in this track, one worth recommending if you haven't heard it before. At number 9 is Procol Harum with Homburg. Multi-rock group harkening from Essex, where they started out as the Paramounts in 64, Procol Harum, who have gone through 22 different members, have a career that spans over 35 years, has enjoyed 5 out of their 11 studio albums charting in the UK, 3 top 10 singles during their original 10-year stint, and were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2012. Most famous for their track Whiter Shade of Pale, which has sold over 10 million copies worldwide, this song peaked at number 5 and was their second most successful song. Written by band members Keith Reid and Gary Brooker, the lyrics in the first verse pertain to the notion that some notorious businessman's bit on the side has left him, and all the hallmarks are there: lipstick, Ashfield ashtrays, and an unmade bed. Whilst the second verse sees the protagonist having an acid trip where he's standing in a town somewhere and the hands of the clock start eating each other. It's Procol Harum. I don't get them either. Complete with an organ, keyboard, piano, guitar, bass and drums, the song was criticised for being too similar to their predecessor, but I find Whiter Shade of Pale to be a much better track. This isn't a bad song by any regards, but the predecessor has so much more weight and feeling to it that it makes the song timeless, at least for me. Mixing on this song could have been toned down a bit, as I think it does go overboard and becomes too overpowering, but it's alright for what it is. At number 8 is Reflections by Diana Ross and the Supremes. Founded in Detroit, Michigan in 1959, originally starting out as the Primettes and the premier act of Motown Records during the 60s, Diana Ross and the Supremes are the most successful vocal group America has ever produced, and were at one point one of the most commercially successful Motown acts ever. With 10 alternating members throughout their 18-year tenure, the group released 29 studio albums under the mentioned name and under the name of the Supremes, which the group were known as until the change in 1967. The group had 10 top 40 albums, 30 top 40 singles, with 1 going to number 1. This song peaked at number 5, and since it was the late 60s, you guessed it, this was the group showing off their psychedelic side, representing a shift in Motown sound. It's a song about the protagonist's recent relationship going down the pan, about how he brought so much joy and happiness in Diana's life, but since he apparently screwed her over, she's left with nothing but empty days and often reflects on the good times that she holds on to. Maybe it's because I'm not an expert on the subject of Motown, but in terms of psychedelia, the opening 10 seconds are probably the most psychedelic it gets. Then again, it is just some beeping sound effect followed by an otherworldly warbled electronic effect before breaking into the instrumentals. It opens up with rattles, a subtle hint of electronic keyboards in the background, introducing a funky bass line, a string arrangement and a high-pitched keyboard effect which is more annoying than it is psychedelic. It's a nice try, but the group have done better songs than this one. At number 7 is There Must Be a Way by Frankie Vaughan. Born in Liverpool in 1928, Frankie Vaughan's CBE-DL has a career list that's longer than almost everybody's in this video, having recorded more than 80 singles singles, his first being in 1950, his last being in 1987, 31 charted, 2 of which were #1 hits, and recorded 25 studio albums under 5 separate music labels. Remember, this was a time where artists of the easy listening genre could drop 2 albums in a year and release something like 6 songs in a year, mainly covers. And not good ones. A-side to the Dean Martin cover, You're Nobody Till Somebody Loves You, There Must Be a Way is a gut-wrenching love ballad about Frankie splitting up with his ex and is left to ponder whether there's any way or anything to help him get through what is clearly a tumultuous and troublesome time for the man. I've got a few suggestions. Booze, parties and prozzies. I'm kidding. Seriously though. Comparing this track with everything else on this list, this sounds like the kind of song that could have been released back in the early 50s and nobody would have known the difference. It's very dated with the atypical orchestral soundtrack that was very typical for that particular time period and is so schmaltzy and unoriginal. There must be a way for this song to escape my memory. Booze, parties, and... alright, you get the gist. At #6 is The Letter by the Box Tops. This track, which has been covered by a metric butt-ton of artists, including the Beach Boys, Eva Cassidy, Al Green and C6 Steve, to name a few, originally written by Wayne Carson Thompson after the first line was given to him by his father, this song comes courtesy of the Memphis rock group The Box Tops, who dabbled in the psychedelia and soul genres, responsible for a very eclectic body of work. With a 20-plus year career alternating between 16 different members, this was only one of 3 tracks that made the top 40 in the UK. They released 5 studio albums and dabbled in what could be described as minor success. Lyrics tell the tale of the lead singer Alex Chilton, who is desperate to get back to his love interest, adamant to buy a plane ticket since he ain't got time to take a fast train because due to the contents of a letter that was written to him by said love interest, she can't live without him no more. Oh, you double negatives. I will never get tired of you. Delivered with husky, gritty and rough vocals, with an opening that instantly reminds me of the song Keep On Running by the Spencer Davis Group, it contains the instruments you'd expect from a rock group. Guitars, drums, bass, thrown in some brass instruments and synthetic strings. This track being less than 2 minutes long is actually a really good track. In fact, it's a great track. It's succinct, short, to the point, no faffing around with copy and paste junk lyrics that make your insides curdle and makes you want to throw up the contents. No surprise it's been covered so many times. But to be frank, there's no beat in the original. At #5 is Excerpt from a Teenage Opera by Keith West. Born Keith Allen Hopkins on December the 6th, 1943, Keith West started off as the lead singer of Tomorrow, a psychedelic rock group, surprised, who had virtually no commercial success at all despite getting a big push from legendary radio DJ John Peel. He would go on to perform in other bands as a singer and songwriter. His most notable success was in 1967 with this track, which he features as the singer. Written for the musical project A Teenage Opera by record producer Mark Ritz, you may be more familiar with this track than you know. You know the track that repeats Rosa Jack in the chorus? Well, here's that song. For the uninitiated, the song is like a mini-story, telling the short tale of a grocer called Jack. I know, I was just as shocked as you guys. An 82-year-old man who the town relies on to bring them food so they can eat. Yet one day he doesn't turn up, so the adults send their children to go and get him so that they can give him a load of shit, only to discover that Jack has passed away. Wow. What bastards. It's definitely a song with charm and character, there's no denying that, even if the chorus does have children singing it, which I personally find sphincter clenching. The instrumentation, however, is very good. In fact, one of the better instrumentations on this list. A brass and string section, guitars both electric and bass, percussion, a melodic keyboard opening, woodwind instruments. It has that theatrical nature to it that's undeniable and kind of puts a few of these other songs on this list to shame. Overall, it's a good song. At #4 is Hole in My Shoe by Traffic. Revisiting the psychedelic pop scene now with the song Hole in My Shoe coming courtesy of 2004 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees Traffic, a group that ran for a total of 9 years between 67 and 94, consisted of 14 alternating members, charted 5 top 40 albums and 3 top 10 singles. The song was allegedly hated by guitarist at the time Steve Winwood, percussionist Jim Capaldi and woodwind instrumentalist Chris Wood, as those members believed the song didn't represent their musical or lyrical style. How did this song do? Well, it peaked at number 2. Not bad, huh? Composed by bassist and sitar player Dave Mason, the song reads much like one person's acid trip. The protagonist starts off lying down where an elephant is looking down on him before the song transitions to the singer walking through a field surrounded by 100 tin soldiers before flying through the air on an albatross, ultimately falling off before waking up where he notes that water is leaking through a hole in his shoe. Clearly a stoner's ballad, am I right? It's a stripped psychedelic track, this one being driven by basic percussion, sitar, flute and background keyboard synths. A heavy Indian vibe is going on here, and again, very 60s sounding and can be enjoyed without the aid of drugs. I recommend it. At number 3 is The Last Waltz by Engelbert Humperdinck. With a career spanning 60 years as of next year, born Arnold George Dorsey in Madras, now Chennai in India, Humperdinck is widely regarded by critics as one of the finest middle-of-the-road balladeers around. I think that's supposed to be a compliment. Named for his 2 biggest hits, this one and Release Me, both number 1 songs and the albums of the same name selling 1 million copies each in the same year, the man has 18 top 50 albums throughout his career, 13 top 40 singles and probably his most famous credential, one that he probably would love to let die a quiet death, his representation of the UK in the 2012 Eurovision Song Contest, where he finished 25th out of 26 countries. Yeah. Moving on. The Last Waltz tells the story of the singer on his way out of a dance hall before deciding to stick around for one last dance with a lonely woman, and ultimately is left in tears after the dance has ended because not knowing a single damn thing about this person, her name, what she does for a living, whether she has a fetish for Brazilian midget donkey porn, he decides right there and then that he loves her. Performed in the traditional waltz style of 3/4 time, instrumentation consists of a piano, hi-hat and cymbal, bass and a string section combined with background vocalists. It's an okay track, but the lyrics are easily the most unattractive part of this song. It's similar to modern day generic love songs with no individuality, no personality and nothing to offer. At number 2 is Flowers in the Rain by The Move. Regarded as one of the UK's leading rock groups that never found any traction in the US, this group has 9 top 20 singles to their name during their original run from 65 to 72. The group reformed in 2004 with original drummer and vocalist Bev Bevan and a group of former colleagues which ran through to 2014, completing an almost 50-day tour ending in December of that year. Famed for including acts like Roy Wood and Jeff Lynne, which later led to the creation of ELO, The Move only had 1 top 20 charting studio album, having released 4. Yet their single success was very consistent, this track peaking at number 2. Written by Roy Wood, the song is about the singer waking up and instead of getting up and going about his day, he decides to just lay there and look outside whilst it's raining and just watches the flowers. There may be some connotation here of being on drugs as well. What else could explain the line about the bees talking with the trees? The song opens up with a thunderclap and raining sound effect before breaking off into an electronic guitar strumming, percussion and bass line, as well as a few woodwind instruments that include the English horn, French horn, oboe and clarinet. It's an upbeat, fun, little quirky track with plenty of appeal, with a sweet sing-along nature to it. Yeah, a nice song. Give it a listen. And the song that was number 1 back on this day in 1967 was Massachusetts by the Bee Gees. I'm sure everybody and their mothers are familiar with this group. I know that the Bee Gees are given a hard time because of a lot of their tracks. They sound like they're having their nuts caught in an elevator's doors, but they have been responsible for some really good songs. Hailing from the Isle of Man, maintaining an almost 50-year career, mainly consisting of brothers Robin, Morris and Barry Gibb, had 13 charting studio albums, 39 charting singles, 5 of which went to number 1, and this being their very first, have sold over 220 million records worldwide, inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1997, have received American Music Awards, Brits, Grammys, World Music Awards, are in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The list is endless. Apparently written as an antithesis to the songs that were prominent at the time, bigging up San Francisco, songs such as Let's Go to San Francisco by the Flower Pot Men and San Francisco Be Sure to Wear Flowers in Your Hair by Scott McKenzie. Both fine songs respectively, don't get me wrong. The track follows a person who left their hometown of Massachusetts because everyone was touting San Francisco as the place for love and peace, man. But eventually the protagonist misses his home too much and decides to return. One of the Bee Gees' shorter songs, 142 seconds long. I wouldn't say that this is one of my top 5 favourite Bee Gees tracks, but it does have that sentiment of loneliness and somberness that echoes in the vocal delivery. Complete with guitar, bass, piano, drums, a string arrangement and a xylophone, it was a deserving #1 single and a song that definitely felt like it was needed as a departure from the gutless love songs. And actually, this song has more emotion to it than some of the love songs on this list. There you go, those were the top 10 biggest selling songs on the 15th of October 1967. What do you guys think of these tracks? Do you like these songs? Do you hate them? Do you agree with my opinions? Disagree with them? However you feel, leave your comments in the comment section below. As I always say, all comments are welcome, positive or negative. But until next time, I'm That Song Review Guy, and take care.